Now, what can we learn from rock bands and their groupies? It's not about the ticket, it's about a common bond that exists between them and their raving fans. Are credit unions losing that connection? Are they now living on a prayer? It's time for us to find out. There's a rising voice for boutique credit unions that's shouting to the world. The cooperative movement touches almost 1 billion lives globally, and credit unions are critical to represent those who don't have a voice.
Tommy used to work on the docks. The union bill shack. He's down on his luck. It's tough. So tough. Gina works a tiny rolling. She's looking for a man. She brings home her pay for love. For love. This here we gotta hold on to what we got. It doesn't make a difference if we're making or not. We got each other, that's a lot for love. We're giving it a shot. Oh, we're halfway there. Oh, give it up a prayer. Take my hand, we'll make it, I swear.
Putting the customer at the center of our decisions and understanding what matters to them, not what matters to us.
I am excited to welcome to our stage our rock stars to tell their story about what it means to society, for the people, and for our communities to start and belong to a credit union. First up, we have a marketing manager from Qcash Financial who's on a mission to start credit unions. Let's welcome Denise Wymore. Now I'd like to welcome President and CEO of USC Credit Union, pushing for progress, Mr. Gary Perez. All right, underground speakers, you know how this goes. You know how this goes. We mix it up. You never know what's going to happen here. But we're going to each have 5 minutes to tell your story, to talk it through, and then we'll pass the baton. Denise, let's start with you.
All right, let's do this. So the last time that I was at the Underground, it was actually here in Vegas. And I was asked to facilitate a conversation between Randy Carnes and Sarah Snowcook. So when Randy was allowed to speak, I let Sarah go first, of course. When Randy was allowed to speak, he said the most profound thing. He said, in any industry where there's massive consolidation among the current companies and there are no new entrants, that signals the beginning of the end of that industry. And that's what's happening to credit unions. And that day, it really kind of lit a fire in me. And I thought, this can't be. So I spent the last 2 years interviewing people who tried and failed, who tried and bailed. And the only one that I interviewed that actually made it, which you'll hear from later. And so I wanted to find out, why is this? And when they told me things like, a lot of people want to bring us in as a SEG, but they don't really want to help us. One CEO said, why would I want to help you? Why would I want more competition? There's no one that will do it. Our trade associations aren't doing it. There's all these reasons why we couldn't start credit unions. And so I thought, that's not right. The credit union movement cannot go away. So in that, I also talked to the NCUA, and they said one of the reasons that a lot of credit unions don't begin, they have well-intentioned people that have a really good business plan, but they don't have a lot of expertise. And even if they did get through all the gauntlet of NCUA, they don't have any capital. And it's about $1 million to start up a credit union today. So in my travels, I met this group that we call lovingly the de novo support group. It's the HBCU, Historically Black Colleges, Nirvana, LGBTQ+, and Returning Citizens, which is the previously incarcerated people and their families. And so we'd been meeting after work every other Wednesday talking about how we can do this. And we said, ultimately, we need a clubhouse. We need a clubhouse. And out of the blue, CU Ideas, Brian Ringer, Kent Dickon had both interviewed Madam Nifedora and myself on their show. And they said, we are so touched by your story. What can we do? I said, we need a clubhouse. In 10 days, they built our clubhouse. They applause. In 10 days, they built our clubhouse. It is the CUDenovocollective.org. It is a place for us to gather. It is a place for us to share. We're launching it officially today at the Underground. So we need your help. We have to do this together. There's no way we can do it alone. And really, credit unions are not going down on my watch. Thank you.
Speaking of de novo credit unions, we as a system have an opportunity, a privilege, and I dare say a responsibility to come together collectively to address 400 years of racial injustice. I am so proud to be here at the Underground where cool things, smart things, progressive things, needed things come together and have to happen. To speak to something that we as a system can and should be doing, and that is starting a credit union, a de novo credit union, to serve historically Black colleges and universities, their faculties and staffs, their alumni, and most importantly, their students. We can come together to create something that would be so incredibly powerful. There are 109 HBCUs in this country, yet there are only 9 credit unions that are chartered to exclusively serve the individual campuses. The HBCU credit union, as we envision it, would be a prime credit union for the 100 or so credit unions that campuses that don't have a credit union, and a resource to the 9 credit unions that do. Yeah. How? We'll start a credit union. That would almost instantly be a low-income credit union, a community development financial institution, and a minority depository institution. That will enable us to acquire that $1 million in capital. In fact, we want to get $10 million. You hear that, friends in the credit union community? We want $10 million to capitalize a credit union that would provide financial education, objective financial education, and low-cost financial services to those campuses. Additionally, with the funds that we'll receive, that we believe that we'll be eligible for, whether it be from Treasury through the CDFI fund, whether it be from the corporate system or the nonprofit system, we'll be able to radically buy down costs. We'll be able to radically improve the quality of financial education to those communities. We'll be able to offer scholarships. We'll be offering internships to the students of those institutions, all in the spirit of a credit union. This is not about empire building for any individual credit union. This won't be a division of the USC Credit Union as envisioned and through the leadership of the AACUC and Ms. Renee Sadie-White, who's also in support and in leadership of this initiative. We can make a difference through a digital-first credit union that would be something truly extraordinary that I believe we will all be very, very proud of. Let's do something cooperatively. Let's do something together to make an impact on the African-American community in the United States. Thank you.
I had chills during your presentation just now, and we've had some questions come in. One of the questions I have for both panelists is, how can we help? We have a community of individuals that are listening right now, people in the room that are listening right now. What do I do to support you in this effort?
Well, that's a great question, because when we built the clubhouse, that was really our entire point. We know that there are a lot of people out there that want to help. We know that there are a lot of resources, And Sam Brownell from CU Collaborate, he said, but it's not Googleable. He actually created that word. It's not Googleable. You can't find them in one place, and no one owns this process. So the CU De Novo Collective.org is going to be where we will share documents, share policies, procedures. We want a mentoring program for both professional mentors and, to his point, we need financial mentors. We need CUSOs to stand up and give services like Randy Carnes did for years at CU Answers, and I know they still do it, to help de novos get started, giving them discounted services, free for a couple years. We need to come together, and that's why we built this website. So please visit, did I mention? CUDenovocollective.org. But that's what you all can do.
And please do visit the site. It truly is extraordinary. And with respect to the question, let's accept the challenge, right? What we need to do is prove the doubters, or disprove the doubters, I should say. We need from within the credit union space, whether it be natural person credit unions, corporate credit unions, or vendors and trade associations, to help us with capital. Right? Now's the perfect time to invest in a startup because, frankly, there's no opportunity cost associated with it. You've got a lot of money sitting around right now. Invest that in a startup. The second thing is, let's use that sixth tenet, cooperation among cooperatives, to develop the resources. We've got vendors that have raised their hand and offered their services at no cost or reduced cost for the first few years. Let's extend that to other supporters of the credit union movement. Let's come together to make this happen.
Thank you, Denise and Gary. That is a challenge we will all accept. We appreciate you being here. One more round of applause for our kickoff.